could extend the legs up about like
Just
this.
All right, on top.
On
Yeah,
top?
I reckon that too.
Everybody.
Okay.
Right?
How's that? Good.
That's correct. Bermuda's on channel 2. And Sarah's relationship should go here. Although on channel 2, but Sarah will be quieter than Bermuda.
That's what I was thinking.
Bermuda, you know your mic will be hot the whole time. What's that?
Did you want to talk?
Well, just, do you have a countdown or time?
Yeah, we don't quite remember.
And where are we going first? Which, the missing man or the murder investigation?
The missing.
Is this a suspect in the missing man case? Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Corporal Chris Manceau, and I'm here with an update on the police seeking public assistance in the Deese Lake missing person investigation. The Deese Lake area investigation into the disappearance of Cam LcLeod and Bryer Schmegelsky, their vehicle recovery, and the discovery of an unidentified deceased male continues. On July 19th, 2019, the Deese Lake RCMP responded to a vehicle fire south of the Stikine River Bridge on Highway 37. While investigating the vehicle, additional information led police to discover a body at a nearby highway pullout. As a result of the ongoing investigation, police are now seeking the public's assistance in locating two men who were driving the vehicle and are currently missing. The BC RCMP are asking for the public's assistance in locating 19-year-old Cam LcLeod and 18-year-old Bryer Schmegelsky from Port Alberni, who have not been in contact with their family for the last few days. They were driving the vehicle found on fire 50 kilometers south of Deese Lake. Cam and Bryer were traveling through BC to visit Whitehorse in the Yukon Territory to look for work. It's not clear why they returned to BC and what their travel plans may have been. They have periodically connected with family and friends over the past week, and it's possible that they are now in an area without cell coverage. However, we have found their vehicle and have not been able to locate either of them at this time. We are asking for Cam or Bryer to connect with police right away and let us know that they are okay. We are also asking that anyone who may have spoken with them or seen them over the last few days to call police so we can get a better understanding of where they might be or their plans. Cam is described as 6'4", approximately 169 pounds, dark brown hair and facial hair with brown eyes. Bryer is described as 6'4", approximately 169 pounds, with sandy brown hair. The two were traveling in a red and gray Dodge pickup with a sleeping camper with BC license plate LW6433. They were last seen traveling south from the Super 8 General Store in Deese Lake around 3:15 p.m. on Thursday, July 18th. We are also confirming that the deceased male, located approximately 2 kilometers south from the vehicle, is neither Cam nor Bryer. We are continuing to make attempts to identify this male. It is unclear at this time how or if this deceased male is connected with the vehicle fire or the two missing young men. The deceased male is described as 5'8" to 5'10", Caucasian with a heavy build, 50 to 60 years old with a gray beard and gray hair. Anyone with any information about Cam, Bryer, or is able to help us identify the male is please asked to call our new tips line number at 1-877-543-4822 or the major crime line 778-290-5291.
Sir, who's the man in the sketch?
That's the composite of the male that was located with the vehicle, well, near the vehicle, pardon me.
What else can you tell us about this individual? Do you believe that the two missing teens are connected to him? Did they know each other?
At this time, we don't know, and that's why we're reaching out to the public for assistance. We don't know if there is even a connection between them.
How did this man die?
I don't know.
Is there any indication to suggest these two missing teens, the 19-year-old and 18-year-old, met with something nefarious, that there was foul play involved? Any clues in their truck, in their vehicle?
At this time, it's just a missing person investigation that we're trying to follow up on all leads. We're asking for the public to try and help us out if they've seen anybody or if they know anything.
Has there been any contact with their families since July the 19th from either of the two?
Since they've been reported missing?
Yeah.
No, there's been no report from the families.
Do you know what condition the body was in? Does it indicate that it was a few days old?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
And so to confirm, sorry, that's not a suspect
No.
photo. That's a photo of the deceased found near the truck.
That's true. Yes. So not near the truck, 2 kilometers south of
away
it.
from it.
Yeah, but we don't know if they're linked to the truck or even the young men at all.
Any indication of this man's time of death, who found him, where they found him? Is it a highway pull-out? Can you be more specific?
At this time, no. I'm sorry.
Is there any possible link between this case and the case of Mr. Fowler and Ms. Deese up in the
It's possible.
It's possible?
It's possible.
Can you elaborate on that?
We have 2 complex and dynamic ongoing investigations that are happening in northern BC. And they have major crime working on both files at this time. That's all I know.
Do you believe that the person who killed Fowler and Deese could have killed this man?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
How come?
I just don't have that information.
Up until today, RCMP have been really downplaying any sort of link, any sort of serial killer theories. Now you are walking that back. You are changing your tone on that. How come?
The information that was given to us on Friday, we just know more about both of the incidents since Friday, and when initially reported, that information wasn't yet available. Sergeant, sorry.
Do you have a composite sketch of the man that was seen on the road having an altercation with the deceased couple further north?
Sergeant Shoyet will speak to the Deese Fowler homicide investigation. I'm speaking solely to the missing people outside of Deese Lake.
Can you talk about what resources are being put in place to find the missing teens?
So right now we're using all conventional techniques, including air services, police dog services, and search and rescue to look for the missing men.
Is there any indication that possibly the missing teens are somehow connected to the deaths of Fowler and Deese?
Are you suggesting that they're the suspects?
Potentially?
I don't know. I don't have that information. No, it's possible that they are linked, but that's all I have. I'm sorry.
Are you looking at them, though, can you say, as suspects or as potential victims?
At this point, we're looking at them as missing persons, and we're looking to speak with them on their missing person investigation. That's all.
Would
So
you
there's
call
no-
them persons of interest at this point, or?
At this point, I wouldn't even put them as that.
Is there any indication that the teens met with any sort of foul play?
They're missing. We don't have any indication where they are, and we don't have any further information on them. I'm sorry.
What do we know, Corporal, about their last conversation with family members, or perhaps the encounter they had in the general store in town? Do we know anything about their state of mind and everything seemed all right? If there was anything unusual from witnesses, from family members?
I don't have any other information other than the last time they were seen was at that general store in Deese Lake.
And sorry, where were they going?
I don't know. Oh, they had headed up to Whitehorse to look for work, but they were last seen in Deese Lake on Thursday.
We heard from their family members saying they were headed up to Alberta. Do you have any indication if their plans changed?
I don't know if their plans change. That's another reason that we're looking for them for further information. If things have changed, we would like to know that information also.
There are some parallels here in terms of, it's been a couple of days at this point. You have not been able to identify the deceased in this case. We understood that Lucas Fowler, Chynna Deese were also not able to be identified according to their family, because of the nature of their injuries. Can you elaborate at all on the nature of death and the nature of the injuries here? Why are we not getting identification on the victim in this case until days after the fact?
I don't have that information, I'm sorry.
Can you elaborate on how he may have been killed?
I don't have that information. All I know is that he was found deceased nearby this vehicle that was on fire.
Is his death considered to be a homicide?
I think a lot of the questions that you folks are asking with respect to the parallels, I'll be able to maybe give you a little context. With respect to the deceased man here, we are looking to identify that man. Sarah, your question, why is it taking? We don't know who he is, and that's why we're seeking the public's assistance in helping us to identify the man that you see in this composite that was found 2 kilometers south of where the burned vehicle was located.
But why can't you give us an indication of how he died? You've got 3 people dead within the course of a week. The public is wondering what is going on. They're not getting answers from the RCMP. They're getting their information from media from overseas. They're putting out more stuff than what you're giving us. So why can't you give us an idea of whether or not there is a linkage? Are we talking about a potential serial killer? People in these communities have a right to know.
I'll give you an update with respect to the Deese Fowler investigation. So at that point, I think some of the questions that you're asking may be answered. With respect to the nature of a person's death, these are fluid, complex, dynamic investigations, and we need to be able to, number one, verify the information that we have, and then also confirm that the information is accurate. Information is coming in on a momentary basis, so we're getting all kinds of new information, and we need to determine first that the information is accurate before we're able or in a position to share that information externally.
But he was found Friday, correct?
Correct.
Okay, Saturday, Sunday, it's now Monday. You can't tell us whether this was a homicide? We're not even asking about a weapon. We're asking if it's a homicide or not.
At this point, the investigation is ongoing. That's all we're in a position to say. We can tell you that we're looking to identify this man, and that if you have information about this man, you're asked to call police. So we're just going to transition now. I'm going to change a few of the items on the board. Corporal Manso will remain, and if you have further questions for him, I will provide an update with respect to the Deese Fowler investigation. I'm just going to change a few things here, if you don't mind, and then I'll give you an opportunity to take a look.
Thanks for your patience.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much again for joining us. My name is Sergeant Janelle Shoyet, and I'm a Media Relations Officer with the BC RCMP. I'm here today to give you an update with respect to the investigation into the deaths of Lucas Fowler and Chynna Deese, which occurred in northern British Columbia last week. The investigation into the double homicide of 23-year-old Lucas Fowler and 24-year-old Chynna Deese continues to progress. Investigators from the North District and BC RCMP major crime units are continuing their efforts. We can now confirm that Chynna and Lucas were the victims of gun violence, and that their van, a 1986 blue Chevrolet van with Alberta plates, was owned by Lucas Fowler and was being used by the couple to explore northern British Columbia. Investigators are working through a number of tips and tasks, including speaking with individuals who saw or spoke to the couple, analyzing forensic and digital evidence, along with reviewing hours of CCTV and dashcam video footage. The number and types of specialized services and units and investigators continues to fluctuate based on investigative need. Today, we're asking for the public's assistance in identifying a man whom investigators wish to speak with. The man, seen in this composite sketch, was seen speaking to Lucas on the evening of July 14th, 2019 on Highway 97. He is described as Caucasian, with darker skin and dark hair. He's shorter than Lucas, who stood 6'3", and has a possible beard or glasses. The man may be associated to an older model Jeep Cherokee with a black stripe on the hood and black light or bull bar with small lights with covers. He was believed to have been traveling southbound. In addition to the composite sketch, on our website, we will be releasing video footage taken at a gas station in Fort Nelson on July 13th, 2019. That video surveillance footage shows the couple arriving in Lucas's van at approximately 7:30 p.m. and departing the gas station at 7:47 p.m. All those materials will be available on our website following this media availability. The Fowler family have arrived from British Columbia and have been meeting with the police over the course of the last few days. The Deese family continue to receive regular updates with respect to the investigation and currently have no plans to visit British Columbia. The BC Coroner's Service is continuing their investigation into these deaths and will not be providing further updates at this time. The Fowler family has graciously agreed to be here this afternoon, and Chief Inspector Stephen Fowler will join us following the media availability to provide some brief comments. Police are again appealing to the public to come forward and speak with investigators about any interactions or conversations that you had with Chynna or Lucas, about observations regarding their van. We've also seen on social and mainstream media many accounts from people who have information for investigators, and it is imperative prior to sharing that information with anybody else that you speak to our investigations so you can give us that information firsthand and your first account. If you have information in relation to the man seen in this composite sketch and can help us identify him, or information relating to Chynna or Lucas' death or their van, you're asked to call the Major Crime Tip Line at 1-877-543-4822 or locally 778-290-5291. We have two major investigations within the northern BC. We are mindful that this is an area of seasonal tourists and travelers and campers from abroad, as well as motorists and businesses moving from BC, Alberta, and the Northwest Territories, the Yukon, and Alaska. We are asking those who may have been in the area during the times we have listed and may have information or seen anything or have dash cam video to please call our tip line. With respect to public safety, we share the concerns that are being raised given the tragic and unusual nature of these two investigations that we have underway. We would like to stress the importance of heightened vigilance and awareness for anybody traveling in and around the area. We encourage people to camp in known or established areas and locations. In addition, general safety precautions continue to prevail. Make sure your family's aware and have a plan. Make sure your family's aware of what your plan is. Establish check-in times and provide updates. Stick to those update times. If your plans change, please ensure your family and contacts are aware. Thank you.
Sergeant, can you just clarify, I imagine this person is a person of interest. Would you go so far as saying the man in this sketch is a suspect? And can you also just once again run through the details of the vehicle you're looking for that's associated to this person?
Sure. I want to be clear, this man is not a suspect. He is a person with whom investigators wish to speak and are interested in speaking to. With respect to the vehicle he was last believed to be associated with is a older model Jeep Cherokee with a black stripe on the hood, so similar to a racing stripe that would go from the lights up to the windshield. A black light or bull bar with small lights which were covered. He was believed to have been traveling southbound. Now we recognize that this man may not have been aware that that investigators are interested in speaking to him. So if this is you or you know who this is, we ask you to please call our tip line so that investigators can contact you.
What color was the vehicle? A black stripe, light colored? Or?
You know what? I don't have that detail. If I can get it to you, David, I will.
We had heard from a witness that on the Sunday night there was an individual who was seen with Mr. Fowler and Miss Deese, and there seemed to be some sort of heated exchange going on. Is this the same person that was talking to Lucas, you believe?
So the information that we have is that there was a man who was seen speaking to Lucas Fowler, and that is the individual that you see in this composite sketch here. With regards to the heated exchange, that's not the information that I have. There was a conversation, my understanding is, and that's why investigators are looking to speak with this individual who may have information.
Did the witness provide, though, the one who gave this sketch, give any indication of what they may have heard as far as what the tone was of that conversation, what was happening at the time?
It's my understanding that there were no words that the witness could speak to, that they witnessed it as they were driving by and then provided the composite sketch.
Okay.
Can you elaborate any more on a potential motive for the double homicide here? I mean, you referenced how concerning it is to the public. Can you definitively rule out that the public is not at risk from this, potentially? You also can't rule out that it is potentially a serial killer at this point. Can you say, were these two targeted? Was it a crime of opportunity, motive, sexual assault, robbery? Can you give the public any sort of information in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, Sarah, I recognize that those are questions that you really want to have answers to, and those are questions we're looking for the answers to as well. We are absolutely looking for anybody who has information with respect to that. And certainly, as the investigations, as you know, investigations are fluid and dynamic, and we have information coming in. We're certainly looking for the answers to those questions that you're asking as well.
What can you tell us to make us understand why you believe these investigations only lead to each other?
Well, we can't say definitively they are. We certainly are open to those possibilities, and our investigators are speaking to each other, sharing information, and certainly looking at the possibility of that they may be linked. Understandably, that this is it's unusual to have two major investigations undergoing of this nature in northern BC at the same time, and so we recognize that there is a possibility that these could be linked.
How concerning is that? From the perspective of the RCMP, this obviously has international media attention on it. This is very rare that we would see something like this, a potential serial killer on the loose in a very remote part of the province. How concerning is that to you as an RCMP member, seeing something like this?
Well, I mean, I recognize that there are concerns with respect to people's safety, and I want to ensure that people are aware that we're doing everything that we can in order to ensure that we can advance this investigation to the best of our abilities and find the person or persons responsible. We're reassuring the public that to take proper safety precautions and ensure that you have a plan. And I mean, I recognize that there are concerns, and we're doing the best that we can, and we have resources that are able to surge in, support those investigations, and have surged in and in supporting the investigations.
Was Miss Deese sexually assaulted?
I don't have any information relating to that.
How unusual is a cluster of incidents like this? When was the last time BC saw something like this? Double homicide, and then one, I assume, suspicious death, and two men missing. People were very much looking.
Well, I don't have specific statistics relating to that. I can tell you that in my time here, it is unusual. I mean, we have seen homicides, but generally speaking, not of this nature.
Are you working with K-Division at all? There was Project CARE that was looking at Highway 16 as far as Prince George several years ago.
At this point, there's no indications that any previous or ongoing investigations relating to Highway 16 are related to these investigations in northern British Columbia at this point.
Do you believe the suspect might still be in the province? Have you engaged authorities in the Yukon, in Alaska?
I mean, we're sharing information with everybody, and the investigation is ongoing and active, and that would be part of any, just like here today, we're sharing information with the public because we want to get information. So certainly we are sharing with policing partners nationally, internationally, across provincial.
Have you been in touch, though, with policing partners in the Yukon and in Alaska?
Certainly, we're sharing, just as we would in any investigation, that would be part of our investigative protocols in order to share information so that if somebody has information that can help us support our investigation, that they get in touch. So just last question here.
Can you speak to the complications of investigating a case like this in a rural area as opposed to an urban area where you might have more witnesses, cameras, that kind of thing. Out there in the country, not many buildings, not many gas stations, not many cabs, not many cameras. Is that a complication in taking this case forward?
Yeah, I mean, certainly at this point, we're looking for anybody that has dash cam video. We recognize that that is, one of the advantages of now technology, that a lot of people have dash cam video or may have been out and taking nature shots and seeing this very identifiable 1986 blue van, or have information relating to China and Mr. Fowler in other regards. So, I mean, yes, there are some difficulties. That being said, we are the RCMP and we have the ability to bring resources in, specialized resources in, and stand alone in an operational capacity should that be required. But certainly we recognize that, we are still asking for people, if you have not already spoken to police, you have dash cam video, or you have information relating to their disappearance, to please call our tip line.
Are you operating on the theory that Cam and Bryer are alive or dead?
Absolutely. We're hopeful that they are alive. And anybody with information in relation to that investigation is also asked to call our tip line.
Your colleague spoke to it before, but
sorry.
Your colleague spoke to it before, but can you just elaborate on the possibility of the two friends being suspects in the death of Chynna and Lucas one?
I don't believe that we're entertaining that as a possibility at this point. We are certainly investigating them as missing persons, and we're hopeful that they are going to get in contact with us when they see this news information and this broadcast going out. But I don't believe that is something that we're looking at this point. We are investigating them as missing persons at this point. So the father is Chief Inspector Stephen Fowler is here, and I want to allow him an opportunity to come in and say a few words and have an opportunity to see you and speak with you. So I don't want to delay that much more. I will be available after. If you have questions, please feel free to email me. So Chief Inspector Stephen Fowler, if you will, thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon. As you know, I may be an experienced police officer, but today I'm standing here as the father of a murder victim. We are just distraught. This has really torn two families apart. Our son Lucas was having the time of his life travelling the world. He met a beautiful young lady and they teamed up. They were a great pair and they fell in love. We were overjoyed for Lucas. He came to Canada and he planned a trip in a van with Chynna. We'd been talking about it. We'd been discussing his trip. And he communicated with us as they were leaving. What happened after that? Time will tell, I guess. We are hopeful of a positive outcome, and obviously we're appealing, along with the RMCP, for anyone to contact who may have any information whatsoever. However little, please contact the police. I'll take questions.
When was the last time you spoke to Lucas? Do you recall, was it Thursday?
There are some difficulties with the dates because of the time differences between Australia and Canada, but we're in contact within hours of him leaving on this trip.
Mr. Fowler, can you tell us a little bit more about your son and his relationship with his girlfriend and kind of what they brought into each other's lives?
Look, Lucas was just a fun-loving guy who, had a goal to travel the world. He saved up all his money whilst he was working in Sydney. He set out on an adventure with a mate. Along that he met Chynna, and they became an inseparable pair. You know, it's a love story that's ended tragically. It really is. It's the worst ever love story, because we now have two young people who had everything ahead of them tragically murdered.
Mr. Fowler, you've brought some colleagues with you to BC. Wondering if you can just speak to the capacity that they are here with you and your family, and how they are taking part in the investigation, if at all.
I'm very grateful to the Commissioner of New South Wales Police. The police and the Australian government have bent over backwards for my family and I. They have provided me with support, and part of that support that was offered was the services of two of our detectives to act as liaison between the family and the RMCP.
Inspector Fowler, will you be travelling up north to where this happened?
Look, we've got no specific plans in place at this stage. We're taking it a day at a time. It's extremely difficult for all of us, and we just hope to be able to take a breath. And
When was the last time you spoke with him?
as I say, we were in communication. Because of where he was, we were using services available at the time, but within hours of him leaving on this trip with
Mr.
Chynna.
Fowler,
Are you satisfied with the investigation? They comment on what the RCMP is doing on this? That's the way the case went.
I know there's been a lot of speculation, but look, as an experienced police officer, I know how these investigations go. My family and I are more than satisfied with the resources of the RMCP that they're putting into this, and I can tell you I am more than confident in the commitment of all the officers who are working on this case.
Mr. Fowler, maybe if you feel comfortable speaking to it, you kind of addressed it when you first got to the podium, but you're used to doing what we are seeing Sergeant doing in New South Wales. How surreal is it for you to be sort of on the other side of this tragic situation here in Canada?
Look, as a police officer, you work with families all the time, and you get a feel for the lay of the land as you see, but nothing prepares me. Nothing prepares my family for what we are going through now.
We'll take one last question. How concerned were you when you heard about the other incident in Deese Lake, the man who was found dead and the two shooters?
I'm not going to be drawn into anything in relation to the investigations that are taking place by the RMCP.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Did you send them in already?
He just sent them in. I tweeted them, so it's good.
do you have the spelling of his name?
I believe it's Stephen with a PH.
Hey, you know what? That's not